Welcome to today's video, where we are going to explore the stock span problem, a common financial problem in which we need to calculate the span of the stock price for a series of n daily price. Let's take an example to understand this better. Imagine you are an investor and you have been keeping track of the stock prices of a company for a certain period. Now your task is to calculate the span of the stock price for each day. The span of the stock price on a given day I is defined as the maximum number of consecutive days just before the given day, for which the price of the stock of the current day is less than or equal to its price on the given day. Consider an array of 7-day prices as this. To calculate the span of the stock price for each of these 7 days, we need to find out the maximum number of consecutive days just before the given day, for which the price of the stock of the current day is less than or equal to its price on the given day. For the first day, the span value is 1. Since there are no previous days with a price less than or equal to 100. Similarly, for the second day, the span value is 1. Since the previous day's price, that is 100, is greater than 80. Similarly, for the third and fifth day, the span value is 1 again, since the previous day the price is greater than 60. To calculate the stock span for the fourth day, which has a price of 70, we start from the fourth day and move backward to the previous days until we find a day whose price is greater than 70. In this case, we start from the third day, which has a price of 60, and move backward to the second day, which has a price of 80. At this point, we know that the span for the fourth day is 2 because there are two consecutive days, the fourth itself and the third day, where the price of the stock is less than or equal to its price on the fourth day. Similarly, to calculate the stock span for the sixth day, which has a price of 75, we start from the sixth day and move backward to the previous days until we find a day whose price is greater than 75. In the fifth day, which has a price of 60, and move backwards to the fourth day, which has a price of 70, and then we continue moving backward to the third day with the value 60, and then next, which has a price of 80. At this point, we know that the span for the sixth day is 4. Similarly, with the 85, the span is 6. Our task is to complete the function calculate span, which takes two parameters, an array of prices denoting the price of the stock and an integer n denoting the number of days. This function should calculate the span of the stock price for all n days and return an array of length n denoting the spans for all the days. Let's understand this by taking question as our example. Day 1 price is equals to 100. Stack is day 1. Stack empty list, output empty. Since there is no previous day to compare with the span for day 1, which is 100, so we push the pair 101 onto the stack, 101, and push the span count 1 to the output array. Day 2, price is 80, stack is, we have this 101, and output is 1. The current price 80 is less than the price at the top of the stack 100. So we push the pair 81 onto the stack and push the span count 1 to the output. Day 3 price is 60. The current price 60 is less than the price at the top of the stack, which is 80. So we push the pair 61 onto the stack and push the span count 1 onto the output array. Day 4 price is 70. The current price 70 is greater than at the top of the stack, which is 60. We pop the top element from the stack and add its span to the current span count. So we will pop this element and add its span. What was its span? Its span was 1. So we will pop this element and add its span to the current span count. Current span is 1. So now we have 70 and 2. The current price 70 is smaller than the price at the new top of the stack, which is 80. So we push the pair 70 and 2 to the stack and 2 to the outputter. Day 5 price is 60. The current price 60 is less than the price at the top of the stack, which is 70. So we push the pair 60 and 1 onto the top of the stack and push the span count 1 onto the output array. Day 6 price is 75. The current price 75 is greater than the price at the top of the stack 60. So we pop the top element from the stack and add its span 1 to the current span count. Current span is 1. So for temporary it is now 75 and 2. The current price 75 is greater than the price at the top of the stack again, because the value is 70. So we will add again 2 to this span, which will become 4, and we will pop this element. Now the current price 75 is smaller than the price at the new top of the stack, which is 80. So we will stop popping elements here and add 75 and 4 to the stack and 4 to the output array. Similarly with day 7, our result will be stack. It will pop out. This one will pop out. So our result will be 85 and 6. I have copied and pasted the stack class. If you don't know about the stack, check my Medium page. I will put the link in the description. So let's code. Then we create two variables, an empty variable called output and a new instance of the stack class called, let's give it a stack. Next up, we start a for loop that will iterate over each element in the array. Inside our for loop, we initialize a variable called count, which will represent the span of the current stock price. Let's give it a span. We check to see if our stock stack is empty. If it is, we simply push the current stock price and its corresponding span, which is always 1 for the first day, onto the stack and output array. Second condition, if the current stock price is less than the price at the top of the stack, then we push the current price and its corresponding span onto the stack. Similar condition, similar result, sorry, and span to the stack output array. Finally, if the current stock price is greater than or equal to the price at the top of the stack, then we will enter a while loop which will keep continue popping element of the stack and adding their corresponding spans to the current account until the current stock price is less than the price at the top of the stack. So if it happens, then we'll increase the span by the span of previous element, by the span of this element. And last, and span to the output. Lastly, we return output. So now if we call this function, stack is empty. Okay. If you have observed, these two lines are repeating everywhere in every condition. So we can remove it, remove all the conditions. And here in my bad, instead of I, we will put 1. Now if we run it, we get our result. I hope you enjoy the video. Happy coding. Until then, goodbye.